appropriate in decency.
Okay. So, it's been a while since we've done one of these Nerds R Us segments, and I gotta say, with Michael on his little hiatus, I've kind of forgotten about some of the beauty of these shows. Being able to just talk about how much of a nerd I am, how much of a nerd Michael is too, but I digress. Anyways, so with that, let me just sort of delve into things. I was going to, when we were supposed to record in October, I was going to talk about Raw on that episode. Apparently not. I can talk about it right now, but that was supposed to be in October. So, I will have to think of something to fill that gap with, if you will. And of course, this will be the moment where Mike will start giggling and talk about filling gaps. Because that's just how lame it can be sometimes. But anyways, the kids and I have gone to see wrestling twice now. And first time we saw it was back in September, on September 3rd, which was Labor Day. And then we saw, that was Monday Night Raw. That was my first ever time being at a WWE event. And then the second time we went was on April 30th of this year. That was to see SmackDown live. Both times were enjoyable. The kids actually enjoyed the second time around better than the first time, because although when we were at Raw, we were on the floor right beside the ramp. We got to see wrestlers up close and personal. It was really awesome. It was also hard to see what was going on in the ring, because every time something would happen, everyone started standing up, and my kids were just, bitching the whole time because they had to stand up too, and they couldn't see over all these people who were taller than them. So, they enjoyed SmackDown live better because the seats that I got were a little bit further back, but it was up enough to where we could look directly at the ring, and the ring just looked perfect from where we were standing. It was very good view of what was going on, in the ring. So, when we went to Raw, we actually missed the dark match, which is, if you don't know what that means, that's the match that happens before the show starts. We showed up just as the dark match was ending and just as they were about to air the opening of the show. So, when we went to SmackDown, we showed up as the dark match was unfolding. The bell had just rang and we found our seats pretty quickly and we stayed there for the remainder of the show. And, so it was awesome both times. I got to see Shawn Michaels in person and Undertaker in person when we went to Raw. Bunch of other awesome wrestlers who were there. When we went to SmackDown Live, I got to see Randy Orton in person, which was pretty cool. There were a lot of great things that happened on both shows. And the kids just thoroughly enjoyed both of them. So there was that. And there's another part of this Nerds for Us. I just wanted to mark out a little bit about the fact that I got to go to wrestling, and it was awesome, and I plan on taking my kids as often as possible. There were a few funny moments, but there was one really funny moment that happened when we first went to wrestling. We went to Raw, and there was this one point where they were on commercial break, and this cameraman came up to Austin, because Austin's just sort of hanging on the railing there, just waiting for the commercial and then for the action to get started again. And cameraman came right up to Austin and he had his camera right in Austin's face. And he was waiting for Austin to start reacting all crazy, but Austin just kind of stared at the guy like he was stupid. And it was pretty hilarious to watch, because the guy just kind of looked at Austin really? You're not going to react at all? And Austin just kind of shrugged his shoulders what the hell you looking at, idiot? It was funny. Definitely typical Austin fashion. And the guy just he shrugged his shoulders okay. Because the guy was what? So I had never seen any other kid I'd ever seen react to wrestling. They they thoroughly enjoy it now. They're quick to just go, "Wow!" Austin was just whatever, get that camera out of my face. It was just, and just the look on Austin's face. I wish, obviously, I can picture in my head Vince McMahon in the back, sitting there thinking to himself, what's up with this kid? He's just not happy to be here at all. Austin was happy to be there, but Austin has never liked being on camera. It's always a struggle to get him to take a picture let alone have him broadcast in front of the whole world. It was funny. But, so yeah. So that is the wrestling edition here that I meant to talk about. My first experience with WWE, and the first two experiences for my kids. They had a blast, and it was funny, that one moment in particular. So I plan on, in the future, ranting about people with their pickiness and their entitlements to thoughts about Game of Thrones. So we will talk about that in the next edition of Nerds Are Us.
If you can't duck it, fuck it.
So, here we are, and I'm going to have an interview with Mike. Michael, it is so great to see you, man. I know you've been missing from the show for quite some time, and
Yeah.
I just gotta say, I'm happy to have you back in here. How you doing?
Fuck. I think I'm gonna take another drink on that note.
Oh, okay. So, I'm just great to. It is just great to have you here, and I can't express enough, man, how much I've missed you being on the show. So what have you been up to, man?
Me and one of my old friends, I was on this little kid bike. Oh my Jesus.
Great. So, what I'm going to do is I'm occasionally going to try and interview you, man, because I know that your schedule is just really busy, and I know that you miss the fans of the show, and I can't stress enough how much it means to me to have you here, man. Like, I love you. I know you and your girlfriend, you guys are just hanging out a lot, and it's understandable. Like, I get it.
I sit low as fuck.
Okay. So, I'm not sure why you bring that up all of a sudden, but I guess we are going to have to continue this conversation at another time, because, quite frankly, I'm you're just kind of taken aback here in the direction that this conversation is going, okay? So, this is going to be a new thing that I do on this show sometimes. I'm going to sort of briefly look at the world and, sort of comment on what I see. So, today, I'm going to go to Twitter. Alright? I'm not going to take forever on this. I just want to look at Twitter and see what's happening in the Twitterverse, if you will. So, I'm going to take about 2 minutes to just quickly look at what's going on in the world, and I'm just going to comment on it. So, let's just call this... what should I call this? Let me see. How about echoes from the internet? Yes, we'll call it that. Echoes from the internet. Alright, so we will just look at that. Echoes from the internet, and alright, so there's a lot that's been going on here. I've already commented on wrestling, so I'm just going to try and look at something else. We'll try and avoid politics in this, okay? So it's going to be other things that are not politically related or related to anything else I've already talked about. Try and keep this to other issues. It's difficult trying to skip those. Yeah. So, echoes from the internet. Take one. And, wow. Difficult to avoid talk about wrestling and politics when that's most of what you follow on social media. But I'm on Twitter, which I mostly just follow political and wrestling-related stuff on there. Not big into gossip. Let's just go to Facebook, because Twitter apparently isn't doing it. Too much political and wrestling stuff on Twitter. I've already surpassed my 2-minute limit. Oh, well. To hell with it. Okay, so. I'm going to try. Okay. So, huh. Facebook's also hard to avoid politics. Come on, people. Jeez. Alright. And... Alright, fine. I was trying to avoid doing this, but let's just do it. I was going to rant about Game of Thrones at a different time, but okay. So, apparently this keeps popping up. Not everyone, but a lot of people are upset about how Game of Thrones 8th season is unfolding. And honestly, it's annoying. Because this is what annoys me about this. And this isn't just about Game of Thrones. This is about a lot of things. Part of the problem that I have is when you see people ranting about a show and how it's turning out. And they all seem to suggest they can do better. But we will look at that just because it keeps popping up. And it's annoying me, so we're just going to do this, I guess. I'm not even going to specify about Game of Thrones. Just talk about everything, whether it's wrestling related, any kind of television show. The internet, with all of its potential to make everything better, to democratize so many things, it is ruining things at the same time because people take to the internet to just bitch about everything, and they insist, which is fine to a degree, but then they insist on bending everyone to their will when it comes to entertainment. Especially, like, it's okay to use the internet to demand action on political matters, to organize action, but people aren't using it that powerful for that. They're using it to try and warp our forms of entertainment. And to a degree, I even think that that's not so bad when you demand better. But at the same time, it's like when people don't have the conclusion to whatever series that they're watching, or even a sporting event, or professional wrestling, for instance, when they don't have the outcome that they're expecting, they all of a sudden just throw their hands up and say, well, this just needs to be canceled. We just need to redo it. Like, it's ridiculous. I mean, people have become so entitled to the outcomes that they expect that they just can't sit back and shut up and enjoy the show. I mean, and I get it. Critiquing things that you're watching or listening to or reading is fine. That is a time-old tradition that is as long as entertainment has been around. That's fine. But when it's like everyone gets all up in arms, like they don't just critique, they go nuclear. They demand that something come to an end because it's not to their liking. And then everyone else starts piling on that. And it's something that is actually speaking to a bigger picture here, what's going on with society to a degree. But it's tragic at the same time because we're watching all forms of entertainment just get wrecked by people who just grow so angry about entertainment when it doesn't fit what their fantasy is about how that form of entertainment should turn out. I'm trying to avoid using wrestling references here, but that's one of the examples. Is when a storyline of professional wrestling doesn't pan out the way everyone expects it to, then people say, "Oh, that just doesn't make any sense. This is going downhill." It's like, oh my god. You can go back far in time with any form of entertainment, and you don't always get what you want. There are times when you're left disappointed more often than not. But it's also by design, because if you always got everything that you wanted, then you wouldn't have that satisfaction when you finally got what you wanted. And that's, I don't know. So this echo from the internet, this first edition, is also a critique of the internet to a degree. It's not what I intended when I first set out with this, but it's what it morphed into. So there we have it. This first edition of Echoes from the Internet. And yeah, what a world. Here is the conclusion of Michael's race rant.
None. It is honestly the most annoying thing to me. I can't understand it and never will understand it. I don't care if somebody's done something to you, somebody you love, or anything. Just because there's one bad apple does not mean the whole bunch is rotten. So, whatever. We're not going to make this into some big thing. But my thing is like, I might joke about some things, but I am not racist, I'm not sexist, or anything. I believe we all deserve the same opportunities, the same rights, the same voice. I believe we all deserve to be equal. But I will joke about anything and everything. That is basically what I'm getting at.
The following is a public service announcement by Granddaddy Jebediah Duxen.
You know, sometimes people ask me, what's the thing that gets on my nerves the most about life? And I try to think to myself real hard. What is it that I hate the most about life? Stinky people. You see, it's not that hard to go into your bathroom, turn on the faucet, get some soap, lather it up real nice, and wash your ass. There are parts of life that are crucial to taking a bath, including being around me and my sensitive nostrils. You see, it's hard for me to breathe when you're not taking a bath. And I gotta tell you, when you come around Granddaddy Duxen and you don't take a bath, you're gonna get my foot in your ass. See, if you don't wash it, you're gonna get the foot. Or you're gonna get these hands. Because I'll challenge you to a boxing tournament. And I gotta tell you, I'm undefeated. And don't you ever let anyone tell you any different. And if you don't want to be fitting to find out, better be fitting to take a bath. So take this from me, Granddaddy Duxen. In all my years on this earth, I've never stink, but I always smell all y'all stinking. So take a bath. And that is your public service announcement, courtesy of Granddaddy Duxen. Jebediah out.